Well, kia ora and welcome into the Harness Half Hour, proudly brought to you by HRNZ Marketing. I'm Jess Smith and our guests today are Gary Hall Jr., Heather Vitale, Maurice McDermott and bookmaker Richard Wilson. And here are today's headlines. Chicago Bull signalled his arrival in New Zealand on Friday night with his Herculean effort to win at Alexandra Park. After losing significant ground breaking at the start, Junior sent the 6-year-old son of Bettor's Delight to sit parked. Despite being parked on a 54-2 last 800, the West Australian visitor blew his rivals away to win by 2.5 lengths. The New Zealand Cup picture got even less clear on Monday in the Kaikoura Cup when Spankham and Tim Williams dominated the Group 2 feature from the front. The first two home, Spankham and Pat's Delight, are not nominated for the New Zealand Cup. Eamon Maguire finished third, Cruz Bromack fourth and Star Galleria fifth. Speeding Spur propelled himself to Dominion favouritism after a tough win in the Group 3 South Bay Trotters Cup at Kaikoura on Monday. Despite starting off the back mark on his own, the 7-year-old Entar bucked the racing pattern of the day, coming from off the pace to down Ronald J at the line. And Sha Tin became the first New Zealand bred horse to win a North American Breeders' Crown final on Sunday New Zealand time. The daughter of Tin Tin in America showed huge courage and heart to win after leading early and setting up a slick tempo on the sloppy track. She is now the richest ever pacing mare in one season in North America. Well done to New Zealand breeder Grant Crabb. Well, the New Zealand industry was blown away by the West Australian visitor in Chicago Bull and his performance on Friday night at Alexandra Park. And joining me on the podcast is Gary Hall Jr. Junior, what were your thoughts soon after the start with Chicago Bull?
I thought we were in all sorts of pain, really, Jess. I said all week he wouldn't blow the start, but he well and truly did. I sort of thought he was horse it might be slow away, but once he hit his hobble, he'd stay pacing. But yeah, he went 2 or 3 times into his gear and then straight back into a canter. So it wasn't ideal, but all for the end, I guess, as they say.
Oh, most certainly. And sitting parked over the final stages, I guess you would have been thinking that running second was a good option at that stage. Did he surprise you with the tenacity that he showed in the run home?
Yeah, he most definitely did, and you're quite right. I was parked up outside Jack's Legend. I thought, well, we did get here pretty soft after even missing away, but if we can sort of just hold this spot and run second, we'll be doing a really good job and take something out of the run. So that was the main plan, and then we got down the back straight, and I thought, well, I'll just see what we got left, and asked him to move up there a little bit, and he strode up quite nicely. And Jack's Legend didn't quite respond as well as I thought he would when he was urged along. And we started growing in confidence from that point on. And just to see him get to the line like that was really encouraging, because even at home sometimes when we sort of put him to sleep in the breeze like that, he'll be hard horse to sort of wake up and really run through the line. But yeah, that was probably the most surprising part about his win, was probably the last 50, I thought.
And did it bring back fond memories, Junior, for you with bringing the mighty Quinn over to Alexandra Park?
It did, yeah. As soon as I walked into the place, I did sort of brought back all those memories, and we had a great time here with Quinny. Both times we came over, first of all for the Inters and Auckland Cup, and then the Auckland Cup after the Sydney Inters. But as soon as I got that parade ring and the crowd were around looking at the free falls and that, it was straight away I sort of pictured back to those days, and I thought, well, hopefully the luck still continues, because we got a fair bit of luck during that carnival with Quinny on both occasions, and sometimes it can happen that way, that you have good memories of a place, and that continues. We've had sort of a few things probably go wrong in our Melbourne campaigns, and it's always a different feeling when you've already had good success at a place, that's for sure.
And just on the horse, I understand you've come off the track from Workingham. How has Chicago Bull pulled up after that race?
Yeah, he looks good. He's quite normal, I would say. He was, I think he was a little tired sort of the next day for sure. But he tends to do that to us. He's quite a relaxed sort of horse, and He tends to sort of look after himself a bit after a tough run, and then the 2 days afterwards he seems to be back pretty good. So he just had a light job of it today, and he's obviously come through that pretty well. So I think tomorrow we'll probably have him back to sort of busting around the paddock hopefully, and I don't think he's taking too much harm from the run, but as I said, he was a little bit tired, and he's still eating quite well and things like that. So there's no real concerns at this stage.
Well, that is great to hear. And Junior, what is the plan going forward heading towards the Cup?
So he'll probably leave North Island on at this stage either Friday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. But I think we're leaning towards the Sunday, and then he'll head towards the Cup trial, which I think is 5 days before the Cup. He'll go around the Cup trial and then straight into the Cup from there. So that sort of works in pretty well with how we usually do things back at home with him. So at this stage, that's the plan.
Okay, and in his preparation, I'd imagine there'd be a bit more standing start practice for him.
Yeah, most definitely, him and me. We don't have horrible shoulders on him. He's never worn them throughout his whole career for us, and he's a great pacer out of the mobile. So I was reluctant to sort of throw him on for the stand, even though we would normally use them on all the horses. But he's in a fairly short hobble anyway, and there's not a hell of a lot of room there to pull him up. But I think after watching the race Friday and a few replays, I'll definitely sort of be putting him on him at least at home here a couple of times and just seeing what sort of reaction we get from him that way. But I think the horse will be better for the experience, that's for sure.
Oh, most certainly. And just finally, Junior, you've had Quinny nominated for a New Zealand Cup a few times and had bad luck in the build-up and not able to come for the Cup itself. How special is it to be in the country with a horse heading towards a New Zealand Cup start?
Yeah, well, we're here now, and it's I've got really excited about it, and we're over here, and it's going to be my first Cup as well. I've never sort of even been able to get there as a spectator, but to be going in, to be part of it's been super exciting. But I don't let myself get too ahead of myself. We've still got another plane to catch with him and things like that. So we just take it day by day, as they say. But it is pretty special to be at least on New Zealand soil and have a horse who's in good shape.
Well, Junior, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again. The win on Friday night has really ignited the New Zealand Cup talk, and I know the whole country and Australasia are extremely excited to have you here.
No worries, Jess. I just want to say before I go that just to the New Zealand people, they're fantastic when not only when we came over with Quinny, but also this guy as well. So many people came down the stalls and after the race and just said that thanks for bringing him here, and they made the drive into the park worthwhile, and that's probably the most pleasing thing about it, see people still so enthusiastic about harness racing and to see what a good horse does to people. And so thanks to the New Zealand people, they're always very kind and very, very complimentary when you bring a horse over. So cheers.
And in what's making headlines on social media this week, starting off with New Zealand, of course, Chicago Bull and his courageous effort at Alexandra Park made headlines. Also, Kaikoura features with the PGG Aged event, also the Kaikoura Cup itself and the South Bay Trotters Cup. And Kevin Fairburn features on the HRNZ Facebook page with our Road to the Dominion story. Stay tuned for this week's news story, which comes out on Friday. And from Australia, Tiger Tara is on form for a New Zealand Cup tilt after finishing a game second in the Cranbourne Cup on Saturday night. For the US and Canada, as mentioned, Sha Tin has become a front runner for US Horse of the Year honours with her win on Sunday. Mick Wicked also threw his name into the mix with another huge win in the open class ranks. Mick Wicked's trainer Casey Coleman has today confirmed that Mick Wicked will return to the racetrack next year as an 8-year-old, despite multiple offers from stud farms to stand the son of McArdle. And we also await news from the Lazarus camp regarding his future after the dual New Zealand Cup winner stopped badly at the 3/4 mile at the Breeders' Crown on Sunday. One of the headline performances over the weekend in the United States was the New Zealand breed mare Sha Tin, being the first New Zealander to win a Breeders' Crown final. And one very excited team member of her camp is Heather Vitale. Heather, thank you for your time, and can you explain to us how you're involved with Sha Tin?
Yeah, first of all, you saying that, like me hearing you say that, I have this gigantic smile on my face. So, like, if you could just see me, beaming, hearing about her being the first New Zealand horse to win a Breeders' Crown. It's just amazing. My relationship with Sha Tin is that my mom co-owns her with Rich Palucci, and my stepdad, Jim King Jr., is the trainer, and she lives right here on our family farm in Harrington, Delaware.
And Heather, given the performance and how tough she had to be to win, I know you had to supplement her late to get into that race, and she won the elimination quite easily, but were you confident going into the final given the track conditions?
Yeah, the supplement for that was over $30,000. So after the elimination, we felt really great. We thought, okay, so it was a really smart investment. The track conditions didn't bother me so much, and the main thing is when she sees that gate, her eyes pop out of her head about 10 inches. So we always feel that if she can just get past that first initial part of seeing the gate and going, we always feel a lot better after the quarter pole. But the track condition, it didn't bother us too much because they were all racing over the same track. So she seems to handle that pretty well.
Heather, what I really loved about watching that race live down under was looking at the half mile, and she had her ears pricked. You knew she was down for the fight.
Oh, yeah. And I'm outside watching, and I'm seeing wow, okay, so I think she's beat coming down the stretch. And then she can't hear the horses because we've got her plugged up. Her ears are plugged up, and she's got a hood on. But as soon as she saw another horse come up to her, she just went on. I mean, that was it. She was not having any parts of any other horse passing her.
Yeah, she's such a fighter, and even more exciting following that win, Heather, is that there's now talk about potentially she could be in line for Horse of the Year.
Yes. So there was a lot of talk, especially right after that race. Now, I think that her main competition would be McWicked. However, you're looking at two different, playing fields really. So you've got McWicked in the open pacers, and you've got her with the open pacing mares. I mean, she's done so much. So you kind of need to compare what has she done in her group and what's McWicked done in his group, and go from there, because you're voting on each division, and after you pick a winner in each division, which she has open pacing mares sealed up. And McWicked probably has his division sealed up. So then the voters have to pick who's going to be Pacer of the Year. Will it be Sha Tin or will it be McWicked? And then from there, you look at who you voted for Trotter of the Year, and then you pick your Horse of the Year. She's done so much, though. I mean, she's just surpassed the seasonal earnings record for an open pacing mare in all of history. When she did that with her win last night, Dream Fair Eternal was the leader in 2010, in history, with 925,000. Now she's got seasonal earnings of almost 970,000 for the year. That's incredible. She's been racing since February. And last night she won the Breeders' Crown. Not many horses can do that. She just took a mark of 48-2 in Lexington this month and started racing in February. And she looks just as good now as she did when she started. She's just an incredible athlete.
Oh, she certainly is. And one exciting factor about your involvement, Heather, is that we're going to see you down under for Cup Week, and you'll actually be able to go and meet her breeder, Grant Crabb, and also see her brothers.
I'm really excited about that. I was talking last night, telling people I'm going to meet Sha Tin's baby brother. It's so cute. And then I just found out that she has a baby half-brother, right? That was just born last night?
Yeah.
Super excited about that. So, yeah, I'm so happy. I'm bringing down a picture, and I guess I'm ruining the surprise for her breeder, but I am bringing a couple of surprises for him, or two. So, anyway, I'm excited about meeting him. Absolutely.
Fantastic. And Heather, around your trip to New Zealand, you're going to be here for New Zealand Cup and Show Week in Christchurch, also stopping in Auckland on the way down. But can you tell our listeners about your social media following and exactly what you'll be doing here in New Zealand?
Yeah. So, of course, I have to plug my website, heathervitale.com, because it's probably the easiest way for people to find me on social media, since all of my links are right there, whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And so what I'll be doing is I leave on Sunday, and I will be posting all over social media just the adventure, kind of, that's my thing. I try to bring the adventure to the fans of harness racing. So if they're unable to be there, they can kind of live it through me. So I do a lot of Facebook Lives and a lot of pictures, and hopefully entice everyone that if they can't make it right then and there this year, then they're like, wow, I've got to do this in person next year. This is something I need to have on my bucket list. And I heard that New Zealand Cup Week is absolutely incredible. I've heard that for so many years, and I thought, this is it. I've got to get down there for this big race. And the whole week, I'm excited about the greyhounds and the thoroughbred racing. All of it really, really looks incredible.
Well, Heather, we can't wait to see you here. I'm personally looking forward to taking you around. We'll get you out to Mark and Natalie's to see some cup contenders, and we'll even potentially get you out to the beach. We might be able to see AG's White Sox working on the beach, because I guess that's something that you wouldn't see a lot of up there.
No, I've never seen horses work on the beach in America. I know that they do it like maybe in Maine and a couple different places. Now, I did do it in Ireland this summer, which was fantastic. But when you had mentioned that in an email about going to the beach, that has to happen. Like, I'm just putting that out there. Like, I really, really, really want that to happen. So, yeah, I'm excited.
We'll make sure it happens, and I'm sure anyone listening or that meets you over that time, you're going to get plenty of invitations, Heather, to meet different people and see the great sights. So thank you very much for your time, and please pass on our congratulations to your mum and also your stepdad, Jim, and we can't wait to see you here for Cup Week.
Thank you so much, and I'll give Chartin a big hug from everybody down there.
It's a pleasure to welcome on to the podcast this week of Macmillan Equine Feeds and Maurice McDermott. Maurice, welcome on to the show, and Macmillan's once again supporting harness racing, this time I understand with a barbecue at the Cup Trials.
Yes, morning Jess, yes that's right. We are always, the last 3 or 4 years at the trials at Addington on Cup Trials, do a barbecue just to more or less thank our customers for their patronage throughout the year. It can be a long day, that trial meeting, starting from 1 and going to about 6. So we've got sausages and patties, and it's always good to have a chat to the stable reps and the stable hands and about what's going on. So it's really a thank you to everyone in the game.
Oh, that's great to hear. So I take it that it's a free barbecue for all those attending?
Yes, that's right. No, she's all free, and even the odd trainer that doesn't feed our fine Macmillan's product, we even give them the odd sausage or two.
Well, that is extremely generous of you, Maurice, and I guess it's an opportunity too, because you'll have a lot of owners on hand. And do you find that owners are taking more of an interest these days in terms of what care their horses are being given?
Oh, definitely, yeah, that's for sure. And especially this time of the year when they're getting to the big stage of Cup Day and things, the care and responsibility is a huge factor. And it's also good that the owners come up and they grab something and have a chat. And to tell you the truth, some of them don't even know what their horses are being fed. So it's quite good to say, well, hey, we're taking feed to your stable, and here we are putting it back into the industry, and with helping you guys, giving you something to chew on, and also the horses are chewing on it, so to say.
Exactly, and not only coming up to cup time and equine health being paramount for the racehorses, but of course it's breeding season too.
That's right, exactly, and of course that's where NRM comes involved. But we also own Macmillans, are owned by farmlands, so we think the Macmillans is the racing side of it, and the NRM is the breeding side of it. So hence why sort of Macmillans has taken over the sire stakes from NRM. So we're supporting the racing side of it.
Yeah, I wanted to have a chat about the Sire Stakes series. As you mentioned, a changing of the guard this year with Macmillans taking the sponsorship, and it seems like a logical step for the company. That's
right, yep, that's right. And as we say, putting it back in, and it's great to be able to hope that a Macmillans fed horse is the first to that wonderful Macmillans winning post that we have at Addington, where everyone wants to be on Tuesday.
That's right. That's right, and I just wanted to have a chat while we've got you on the line, Morris, about ownership in harness racing. Where did your journey in the industry start out?
Oh, well, the McDermott name has got a long history in the racing game. A lot of people don't know that my grandfather actually died in the New Zealand Trotting Cup driving in 1939.
Really?
Yes. You probably didn't know that, Jess.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Tell me more.
Yes. He had a heart attack turning for home on a horse. Now, I can't be 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it was Colonel Grattan, and actually fell off the cart turning for home, and the horse actually still went across the line in front at the post, but because my grandfather wasn't in the cart, the horse didn't win the race. Oh. But my grandfather was lucky enough to win a New Zealand Cup in 1934. So there is a fair bit of history there. And then, of course, John, my brother, he trains a few, and we're very lucky to have the good mare Flyover and Supreme Gem. And they race in my grandfather's colours.
Wow, that's amazing. And such a unique history in the family, and to be associated with not just any race, but that happening in the New Zealand Cup, I'd imagine would conjure up all kinds of emotions around your family at cup time.
Well, that's right, exactly. And of course, my father, he was president of New Zealand Metropolitan for a number of years, and then my brother John, he was on the committee. So we've always sort of got a special feeling when it comes to Cup Day.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and of course, I've got the involvement with Banks Peninsula, which I love, sort of a more casual, a bit more social, and so we're all involved in the industry.
Well, that's great to hear, and involved in the future too, in terms of Macmillans and sponsoring the youth side of things. But Morris, as an owner and being involved in harness racing, has there been a highlight for you?
Probably the highlight was when Flyover won the 4-year-old Mare of the Year at the National Awards a number of years ago. Probably be my highlight, and then also Pitch Perfect winning as a 2-year-old, Matt Anderson's first training success. So that was a great buzz.
Oh, fantastic. And going forward, I guess the New Zealand Cup having such a close association with your family would be special to win, but is there anything in particular as an owner that you hold high regards to?
Oh, well, anyone's good, Jess. I love winning a race anywhere, but of course, get one in the New Zealand Cups, what every owner looks forward to. So fingers crossed, you never know, it may happen one day.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully with a bit more luck for the family that time around. Morris, thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure the barbecue will go down well as it does each year, and thank you for your time, and good luck Cup Day, of course, with sponsoring the big Sire Stakes final.
Cool, Jess. Thank you very much, and I just wish everyone with horses going into the Cup Week all the very best.
Well, this is, of course, the bookie update section of the Harness Hub Half Hour, and catching up with Richard Wilson in what has been a chaotic week by the looks of things, Richard, and starting off with last Thursday at Forbury Park, and not a lot of large bets, but there were enough decent bets to force some decent moves there.
Yes, some decent moves, all right, Jess. The best bet of the night, we'll start off with that one, was a funny old amount, $767 on Motu Hot Topic to win at $4, so that one got home pretty well there. Punters got nice returns also off the trotters. Superfast Ninja early on at $1.80 and Springbank Lockie at $2.70. Both those horses very solid in the betting, didn't move off the opening quotes and got home well. The movers were Shard's Fury, opened at $5.50 into $4.60, and he actually ended up being the best backed in race 2, including a $1,000 bet at that $5.50. And the other big mover, Bubs VC, opened at $25, backed right into $5 in race 3. The bets there, $400 at $25, $200 at both 18 and 12. There was also a $1,000 bet at $7.50, and there was a heap of other smaller bets there too. And unfortunately, she wasn't on her best behaviour. Clearly the best backed in the race, and holding almost a third of the win bets. But got it wrong early. But may pay to watch out for Buzz VC next time she lines up. And we were very happy to see Archman get home in the last, Jess. Almost exactly half the win book was on Rock and Roll Magic, $5 into $4.60. And Tim Williams got away to a decent lead, and they couldn't catch him. And Rock and Roll Magic got closest, got second. Turn it round the other way, and it's the $35,000 worst result for us.
Oh my goodness me. Well, from Forbury Park to Friday night at Auckland, and many people had their eyes glued on the feature pace there, but looks like the Trotters again proved pretty popular.
Yes, indeed. It was the Trotters that were doing the damage to us anyway. $500 on Heavyweight Hero at $8.50. He was the big mover. $11.50 on opening into $6 at the jump. In the same race, there was a bet of $1,995 on Temporale at $2.70. That one missed out there. And yes, as you say, all eyes on the feature event, the clash of Chicago Bull and Jack's Legend. There was a few bets. There was a few bets between 1,000 and 2,000 on both horses. And Chicago Bull $1.90 out to $2.10. Jack came in from $2.60 into $2.30. And there was just $400 more on Chicago Bull in the end. And, gee, what a performance from him. Blew the start, looped them, and was just way too good. So he's now the clear favourite for the New Zealand Cup. And another big move in the last race there was Ardent Voyager, $11 into $6, and thankfully second was his lot there.
Yeah, interesting with Chicago Bull, and we'll talk about the New Zealand Cup market later in this section. Sunday at Invercargill, and Braeside Robin had quite a bit of support in that first race.
Yes, indeed. $2 opened up into $1.80, absolutely blew them away in front there. And the other nice winner there, Honour and Glory, short price, $1.45 into $1.40. Punters are happy to take that. 3,000 at $1.40, the largest of a whole heap of bets there, including multis as well. It was really well backed. Other mover, Memphis, Tennessee, $2.60 into $2.40, and Vin Scully later on was $2.50 into $2, and they both got an army of supporters home. In the last race, R&R Windermere, it's been backed and beaten a few times last season. Well backed again, 11 into $8.50, and gave nothing else a look in, really, way out in front there, and it wasn't good for us. Over $3,000 invested on her in total.
Okay, so we had Invercargill kicking things off on Sunday, but also the Twilight meeting, 6 races at Kaikoura South Bay Racecourse, and Feel the Money getting a lot of interest early.
Exactly, yeah, the money was going on. $5,000 at 2, and then another $4,000 at $1.85, the biggest bets in race 5 there, and didn't let them down. Earlier on in the day, King's Landing, multi-punters were off to a flying start there. $1.45 was fairly short, but he bolted in there. So then the next 2 races went our way. Stately, not fancied at all there by punters, $4.50 out to $5.80, and they didn't know really, they weren't concentrating on any one horse there. The money was very well spread around the rest of the top of the market there, so quite happy to see Stately get home. And then Pocket Call blew out a lot of punters, $17 out to $20 in race 4. Dad and Dave was the one that they latched onto there, $6 into 4, including a $5,000 bet at $4.20, and Slingshot was very solid in the same race at $4.20. And then it was another trotter later on doing the damage in the last race. Zazoe home, $2 into $1.90, and then a slight drift out to $1.95. She sweated up quite badly before the start, but it didn't matter. She got home, and punters were quite happy with that.
And that was day 1 at Kaikoura. Day 2, of course, Alabar Kaikoura Cup Day. And gee, I don't envy you and your team at the moment, Richard, having to line up this New Zealand Cup market.
Exactly. There seems to be more horses giving us reasons why they can't win the Cup than there are saying, yes, I can win it. So another real shake-up for the Snow Globe New Zealand Cup. And a lot of mistakes at the start there, and 2 horses that aren't even nominated for the Cup fought out the finish. So, yeah, we'll get to that later on too, as you say, Jess, but there's been a few moves there. A lot of movement at the top of the Kaikoura Cup market early on too, Jess. Cruise Bromac opened at $4.20, started the $2.90 favourite. Eamon Maguire went the other way, $2.40 out to $3.50, and Star Galleria was $4.20 in a bit to $3.80. In the end, there was only $1,500 gap between each of those top 3 horses in the market, and they held about $36,000 between them. So they were the 3 that the punters wanted, but they weren't the 3 that fought out the finish. Bold win there from Spankham. He had his fans as well. There was a $500 bet at 16, proved very lucrative there. And, it was a funny old race, but dominated by the front markers, and anything that made a mistake struggled to get into it. So that's Kaikoura, I guess, for you, in a nutshell, really. Punters early on in the day, they were off to a great start. Charnay finally broke through, 210 into 195. There was a $3,500 bet there at the 195. Then Where You Been, there was $1,600 on him at 370. There was a lot of money on the stablemate Having the Faith. He was best backed, including a $2,500 bet at 2. And then Ashley Lopez, as everybody expected, got home. There was bets of $2,000, $2,500, $4,200, and then a $15,000 just to top everything off there, Jess, all at $1.30. And then later on, in the same race, there was plenty of money for Nancy's Boy, 15 into 8 from the pole, and there was including a big place bet on him. So I was quite happy to see him just run 4th. Unlucky for that punter, but it was quite lucky for me. And then Did You Bring the Bears? Well back at 280, didn't move there, and then Speeding Spur 2 into 2 out to 210. They got punters home again. The Trotters. Getting punters home all week, really. And then race 9, that was a beauty punting-wise, Jess. Most of the runners were very well supported. The best bet there, $1,500 on Henry Hubert at $5.20, and there was a $1,500 bet also on All You Need Is Faith at the $3.30. That one helped us pay the bill a little bit, but good result there for Henry Hubert, backing up last week's dominant win at Ashburton. And in the last race, big go on the favourite, Better Be Gold, $8,000 at $175, $1,500, $2,500, and another $5,000 all at $160. $2,500 also Donegal Art Chokin at $550. So we're very happy to see Acuto get home.
Yeah, it looked like a very tricky day and a roller coaster ride for you guys at South Bay on Monday. And in terms of the futures markets, the Cup, as you say, it just seems to get more and more confusing.
It does. We've sort of settled on Chicago Bull, and I think now he's made a mistake at the start as well, but at least he recovered brilliantly to win. So he's our favourite now. At the start of the week he was $8. He's into $3.80 now. Tiger Tara, $5.50 at the start of the week. Now he's $4.60. Ultimate Machete, $4.20 up to slightly to $4.40, but still very solid there. And then the Drifters, Eamon Maguire was $6.80 out to $8.50. Dream About Me, $6.80 out to $8.50. Star Galleria, $10 out to $15. Sheriff, $31 out to $101. And Cruise Bramac, funny old week for Cruise Bramac. 11 was very popular in the Cup before the running of the Kaikoura Cup, was into 10, and now back out to 12. So a lot of movement, but Chicago Bull looks at this stage, maybe he'll start favourite.
Yep, and we did chat to Gary Hall Jr. about the horse who's going to be drilling that standing start practice into it before heading into the Cup trial. So we'll wait with bated breath around that. And the Dominion, well, of course, we saw Speeding Spur win at Kaikoura. How's that market looking, Richard?
Yeah, there's quite a few bets on Speeding Spur leading into that as well. $8 now, the new favourite at $5. Coming off the back mark there at Kaikoura, big effort, so he's the favourite. Kai Valley Blur, we've pushed him back out, 9.50 out to 12. He got beaten in Australia. And Winterfell's been a big mover. He's pretty well down the rankings. He's $12 out to 15.
Okay, and a reminder, tab.co.nz for those markets. Also, the New Zealand Free-for-All and the Inter-Dominion Pacing and Trotters markets available on tab.co.nz. Also, in multi of the week, what have you found for us this week, Richard?
Yeah, a nice little $200 multi on Sunday at Invercargill. Bridesdale Robin at 180 and Honour and Glory at 140. Memphis, Tennessee at 260, on to Vin Scully at 230. So all the movers there, that returned $3,014.
Oh, fantastic work by that punter, 200 into $3,000. Nice work. And the week ahead, of course, we've got Manawatu on this afternoon.
Yes, Manawatu starts up again today. Of course, it rained. It's rained overnight, and there's a slushy track there, I see. So Manawatu, no luck with the weather, but they race tonight and then again on Thursday. Auckland and Addington together on Friday. I think there'll be a turbo pick 6 there for punters to get into. Maybe Ultimate Machete will have another go at Addington, so we'll see him again. Then Timaru Saturday and the Riverton Trotting Club, including the Cup at Invercargill on Sunday.
Yep, not far away from the big dance at all. And on Manawatu today, has there been much action early since those markets opened last night, Richard?
Pretty quiet, Jess. There's a couple to keep an eye on, though. There's Lucerne Lass, $10.50 into 8 in race 3, and another mover at odds, a couple of bets last night for Mr. Billiards, $35 into 26, that's in race 4.
Okay, well, much appreciated, Richard. I know there's a lot to get through and you've got to get into the office and take those wagers on Manawatu this afternoon, and you must be anxiously awaiting that New Zealand Cup market, and I guess the picture's changing every single day.
Yeah, well, the rankings and who's actually going to make the field, there's a bit of around the 12 to 18 sort of mark in the rankings. That is going to be interesting to see who gets in and who doesn't. And then the Cup trial could be quite crucial, more so than other years. See how these horses can go away from the stand at their last chance.
Well, Richard, thank you so much as always, and here's hoping you at least get some sleep over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, Jess.
And in what's coming up in the harness racing world this week, Tuesday, which is of course today by the time this podcast is released, we see day 1 of the Manawatu meeting. They'll hold day 2, which is night 2, on Thursday. Friday night we see a double header, Auckland Trotting Club in Addington as well, and Saturday Timaru at the Farlap Raceway with Sunday at Riverton. And a reminder that if you are an owner of a horse in on Cup Day at Addington, please ensure your email is registered with us here at HRNZ. This will allow tickets and Cup Day information to be sent efficiently once fields are out next Wednesday. There's a full article on our website as well if you want further information. And that's it for this week's Harness Half Hour. Thanks to HRNZ Marketing. Don't forget the Harness Half Hour podcast is also now available on the Punters Lounge on tab.co.nz, via Spotify and also iTunes.